um, forest fire in Kalimantan started in 1997, right? So since I was 5 years old, I was already exposed to these forest fires in haze with particles, when it entered your lung, and then it can cause you lung cancer, lung failure, stroke, all this kind of disease that you couldn't imagine. I mean, for us, it's not just like one time catastrophic or like one time disaster. No, it happens for over 2 decades. Last year, we had that for like full 4 months because it's El Nino last year, and that's the 26th year. Like every year, the forest fire kept happening. So this is not normal. This is not something that we have, that we can say like, oh yeah, it just happened, it's natural and we have to accept it. Why? Because previously our forefathers, our mothers, our grandparents, they didn't live with such kind of disaster in Kalimantan, right? Because like, one thing that I want people to understand: no ecological disaster is natural. It's all human made, even though it looks that way. It looks like natural, but no. Even with the climate right now, we see a lot of, like, natural disaster. They call it natural, but actually it's caused by what? Because of the change in the temperature of the air, because of the climate crisis, because of the because we are struggling so hard to keep 1.5 alive, right? So it's not natural at all. But for us, that happen. I mean, deforestations, the loss of the habitat, of the wildlife, and then forest fires that keep happening every year. It's hard to imagine the future because Dayak is not Dayak without forests. I mean, the deforestations become very, very huge and increased rapidly in the past 10 years. It's not slowing down. I mean, it's a lie. If someone said like the deforestations in Kalimantan slowing down, not at all. The number is increased. So, what is the future if we do not stop this? I doubt there is a future for the next generation of a Dayak, because even someone descended from the Dayak community has a Dayak blood, but if there is no forest, it's hard to say I am a Dayak, because you lose your home, you lose your connections with your ancestors, with your surroundings. So it's tough. I will say it's tough, but uh, I do not lose hope. Yeah, I see this, like, as a two main challenges. First, the ecological disasters right now exposes us to something that we never dealt with before. I mean, even for our elders, it's hard to ask them how to cope with the situation because they never have that before. But my generation, I told you, I was exposed to this since I was 5 years old. And when I grew up, I was 23 years old and understand the forest fire should be stopped and can be stopped, actually. So when we exposed to this, we got to learn from zero. We got to learn everything. For me myself, I learned why forest fire happened, what government does about it, and what is the possible solutions to stop this. And it's something that I cannot demand from my elders, because now it's the turn for my generations to do that. And then the second one also, I saw the problems lies on the various regulations in the legal system of a country that put indigenous community like us, Dayak people, into a boundary where our traditional way of life and rights also are barely recognized and acknowledged. For example, the traditional burning, right? This traditional farming way, like burning. I mean, we have been doing that for hundreds years, but then we had the problem with forest fires. People start to point finger at us. They said like, "Hey, Dayak farmers, Dayak way of farming caused the fire." Well, actually, more than 50% of the fire spots located in the concessions of palm oil area, right? So there is a system where the Dayak indigenous way of life is not acknowledged, and they also do not acknowledge um, our knowledge to manage that area, and they will bring people coming from Kalimantan, outside Kalimantan, for example, from Java. They say, "Hey, this is a professor, this is a doctor, and they know how to restore the land, right?" Oh, they say this is good. The area is good for the rice farming, but actually it's peatland. You should not drain it. It should be wet. But they say, "Hey, this is for farming. Let's dig it," and then another disaster happened. This is what happened when you do not acknowledge the indigenous ecological knowledge, the wisdoms of the local people that have maintained the area for hundreds years or even thousand years. So, well, back to the beginning, it's tough, but I do not lose hope because I feel this is my responsibility, and my role right now is to bridge this gap. Right, that's why we record the elders' knowledge, this teaching, these wisdoms that our ancestors have how to manage the land, and we pass it to the global audience. We use that for the campaign. We use that to educate people because we want to show them, hey, this is the climate solutions that you once forgot, and you can use it now if you want to make a change, if you want to transform our situation. So that's what I can say about the future.